Good morning, good morning. Thank you very much for again watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the capital city of United Kingdom in London. And a good morning to you across the continent of Africa, from London and in Nairobi, the headquarters of Punchline Africa TV. Good morning, Miriam.
Doc, a very good morning to you, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our viewers, depending on where they're tuned in and watching us.
Thank you very much. It's 25 minutes past 9 o'clock here, 10 o'clock, 7 o'clock here. We are 3 hours in the Rio Syria situation. Is it? I don't know what time it is in that place at the moment. But thank you very much. In Europe, in America, people who are still sleeping at the moment, good morning, all of you across all these continents. In Russia, this is Matsanga Global Trends. Good morning to Tawish in Nairobi, our veteran correspondent and investigative man. Thank you very much for coming to the show, Matsanga Global Trends. I'll begin with the newspapers that are making headlines in Britain. First, I'll read the headlines and then we can move to the subject later of, I'm trying to, this is becoming now very dicey. This is becoming very dicey, okay? The newspapers this morning from Britain, I can see very many of them have written quite a lot of things. Okay, British newspapers. The Guardian. Ministers accused of World West attitude to UK's national security. And this is coming up as a result of what is happening about national security. We seem to be reducing the national security issue in the United Kingdom, and the people are talking, they are not looking at what Britain can do and what it can do in the international scene. There are very many outside. It was chaos. I couldn't move. That is Rafael Rashid, who has made a plea at BBC local radio under threat from huge cuts. BBC, there are people, so many guardians, so many people who have been employed by BBC Medium are going to have to come back to you because there are so many cuts. So prepare the studio in Nairobi to widen up the influx of many people coming back. Peter Tatchwell, I have made people very hungry. I don't know. I first came face to face with Peter Tatchwell in the UK politics some time back. That's a story for another day. Let's look at another paper. The Independent. Families mourn in Seoul. There was a pandemic, a very destructive, Halloween. Somebody, I told someone about this thing. I fear those things. And people come, so you don't know. If you have warned that thing, if there is anything that is happening or there is a shooting at a scene, you can't run. You might be running. That's how people lost lives in Seoul, South Korea. It has a headline that touches us. UK fell short as climate leader, says top advisor. The United Kingdom is not coming for this climate. It is one of the countries that has not paid or does not ratify some of the things on climate change. It's one of the polluters that Africa should ask for more money, but it is not coming to the conference. The Prime Minister will be very busy. NHS is facing worst winter on record. You know, winter here has approached, and it is approaching very deadly. We don't know how to survive. The Ukrainian conflict, the war in Ukraine, the war in the whole of Europe, the prices index, the cost of living, Miriam, has skyrocketed to a place that I think it's better to come to Kenya and eat what is there, or Uganda or Tanzania, because here the prices are also, I don't know what is going to happen down there. We shall compare with Medium later. The Sun has a headline, only 1 week before the World Cup, there are racial abuses or discrimination, racist troll on Twitter, on Facebook, about one of the players of England, a black guy who is going to play in the World Cup. People are trolling him on Facebook, and that is not the thing that we want in this country. Three-body doubles suggest mad Putin may not exist. These people have said, again, when there is defeat, usually in this country, they say the man doesn't exist, he's a ghost. I can see Miriam smiling, but now Putin has become a ghost. There's another president in Africa who is assumed to be a ghost. That is President Buhari. That is the Sun, the Star newspaper of London, and the Daily Express newspaper, horror at the petrol bomb attack on migrant center. Migrants are being attacked. The center was being attacked, petrol bombed, trying to kill people in this country, in that place. Metro, get in line. The people have been told to get in line. Ex-army chief warns politicians over security breaches. Follow the rules or will put other people in your place. Yeah, some politicians in the UK have taken a very big, security everywhere. But ladies, the people that have come in these departments, the ministers that are being appointed from the streets, you find them doing things that are not very good. A minimum, the general trend here now is that people are fed up with the conservative government. People want a new elections. They want a fresh election, a fresh mandate. If the conservatives can win, fine. If they can lose, they go home and sleep and eat a sausage. Because things are not very good here. They have changed 4 prime ministers within a short time. And this has given fragility of democracy. And in fragility of democracy, security breaches of this nature, like the security breach that you saw in America, where a man went with a hammer looking for Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi. Where is she? If he had found Nancy Pelosi, the world would be mourning today. So security is very, very important. It's key. Whether in a developed country or a third world country, presidential security is very, very important. The Daily Telegraph, migrants side by side in hotels with the public. It is saying they also now live side by side with the local people, which is not very bad. They create resettlement. Some of us, when we came into Britain, we became isolated. We were in our rooms. We could not move. We could move freely later on. But you move in an area where you are taken, you don't have anybody to talk to. you don't know much English. Your accent, there is, excuse me, what did you say? Excuse me, what did you mean? That was how some of us came to learn this area, Miriam. Excuse me, what did you say? It means whatever you say, even in good English, in good Shakespearean English, you, you are, even if you have come with 10 degrees, masters, Tawish has mastered and he has arrived there. Once you are a refugee and you are going to settle down, you must start using the language. Hello, how are you? This is good morning. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I think I better do a program on this one, Miriam. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, wherever you are from, United Kingdom. This is Dr. David Matsanga for Punchline Africa in London. Thank you very much. Good morning, Africa. Good morning. I think, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have an accent that I can change, but mostly I bring in Jamaican words in it. Thank you, in it. Thank you very much. Good morning, Africa. Miriam, back to you in Nairobi. Those are the headlines. You can go to us and give us one section of the other. What is the topic you have seen the lineup? We shall look at this morning. But good morning, Miriam. Good morning in Africa. Thank you very much. Good morning, Tawish, wherever you are in Nairobi. This is the capital city of United Kingdom. And as you know,
that is Jamaican, Doc.
This is the capital city of the United Kingdom. And as you are aware, we are busy at making sure that the pound regains its strength across the dollar against the dollar. Thank you very much. Let me come back to the Rio Matsanga. Right. Good morning, Mariam.
Okay, very good morning to you. Let's just start with the first topic there, and that is on Britain and COP27. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is no longer expected to attend the COP27 climate summit in Egypt next week due to other pressing commitments, a Downing Street spokesperson said on Thursday. The UK will still be represented by other senior ministers as well as by COP26 President Alok Sharma at the climate summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, the statement said. So I'll just read part of that statement. The government is absolutely committed to supporting COP27 and leading international action to tackle climate change and protect nature. A Downing Street spokesperson said the Prime Minister is not expected to attend the summit in Egypt due to other pressing domestic commitments, including preparations for the autumn statement. Sharma and senior ministers who are attending will be working to ensure countries continue to make progress on the commitments made at COP26 in Glasgow. The statement continued. The news comes weeks after British media reports at the beginning of October said noted environmentalist King Charles III would miss COP27 after then Prime Minister Liz Truss advised him to drop his plans to attend. Very well. So that is where we start our conversation this morning, Doc.
Thank you very much, Miriam. This conference was very important for Britain to set out its climate change agenda. And unfortunately, the agenda cannot be set, and therefore we shall have to go on from 6th up to 18th, discussing how best we can change the planet, how best we can save the planet, how best we can save the rising temperatures on our oceans. Because it looks, I was watching a film last night where the water came to swallow the planet, the earth, where the rising water, tsunami, how a tsunami operates. I want to tell you, Miriam, each time I go to Mombasa, at times when I start thinking about this tsunami, I don't sleep. I don't know whether you have the same problem like me. I imagine this ocean is rising. The temperatures are rising. Do you imagine that one day it could rise and the more water comes? So every time I go to that place, I am not comfortable at all. And I look at this film that I've seen. I was watching another one this morning. That gave me a lot of of difficulties. But here we are in COP 22, 27 in Egypt. Are we serious if Britain is not coming to put its money? We expected the British Prime Minister to make a first appearance on African soil, and since his origins are from Africa, also traced in Kenya, in Kitale, and Kenyans were very proud, and Africans were going to be very proud to see their son coming to address them, but unfortunately, he is not coming. He has said he has a lot of commitments, but he has sent a powerful delegation that will discuss other commitments. And Miriam Ajon said 23 countries only. Repeat that statement I hear. 23 countries only have done what?
23 countries are the ones who, out of the 193 countries, have submitted their plans to the UN. These plans were agreed upon during the COP26. Countries agreed to deliver stronger commitments this year, including updated national plans with more ambitious targets. So every nation that has ratified and is part of this charter, they're supposed to physically submit their commitment in writing. So only 23 out of the 193 countries have since done that.
Okay. Tawish, what do you have to say about it?
One, I think, Dictori, it really speaks a volume about the lack of interest that the member nations really have in as far as trying to deal with the issue of the climatic changes that we continue to grapple with, and more so its effect on the continent of Africa. But away from that, Dr. Matsanga, I think I wouldn't want to read too much or even pass judgment yet on the failure by UK Prime Minister to come and attend that particular very important conference. And just earlier on, I think in the just previous program, I'd also raised reservation, Dr. Matsanga, about why we continue to have a string of conferences and meetings about climatic changes and what we can do as a people to try and mitigate or really reduce the effects of it, more so in the continent of Africa, because today we are the ones who bear the greatest of brunt in terms of the effects of climatic change. But I would want to see a scenario where, for the first time, we'll want to see serious action and audit, rather stock taking about how we've fared this far in terms of the commitment that we had set ourselves, in terms of the achievement that we had set ourselves. Really, what is it that we have been able to make this far? Are we making any steps forward in terms of trying to bring this to give a solution to the challenges and the effects of the climatic change in the world today, and more so on the African continent, Dr. Matsanga? I think the continued kind of conferences that do not come with a very serious commitment on the part of the biggest players in terms of the biggest emitters of pollution in the world today, Dr. Matsanga, speaks volume about how the African continent, which is suffering a lot out of all this, has been relegated to the periphery, and they're not at the table as just any other. They're not on the table as key players or people who become now victims of this particular happenings. But we need to give more action and give more resources to these particular initiatives and meetings, and even the agreements that we sign and the goals that we set ourselves to achieve by a given period of time. And I've come also to notice, Dr. Matsanga, that we have an issue to do with resources and funding in as far as trying to be able to deal with all these initiatives that we are having on paper. Are we having enough resources? Are we pulling the resources together as the African people? Because if we continue to rely, say, for example, on China or the European nations, or even donations, say, globally, if we cannot concentrate as Africans ourselves and say, let us set targets of what we want to achieve and what finances or resources will require to achieve this. And once we are able to do this, then we target the resources and put them in one pool so that we can then have very serious and actionable plan that we are going to see really help us to mitigate this issue of the climatic changes. But Dr. Matsanga, if we continue with the same pattern, with the same trend, then I can guarantee you that we'll continue to have these conferences and meetings year in, year out, every now and then, but no tangible solutions for these challenges we are going to get out of these meetings. I think it is time we really need to reevaluate the importance, the significance of these meetings. They should not just be there for formality purpose, but we want to see the key players, and of course, when we talk about those who are the biggest contributors of the effects of climatic change in the world, are really committing to help the African nations really try to mitigate and deal with this issue of the climatic change. For now, Dr. Matsanga, I submit.
All right. And Doc, there's another aspect of this story on Britain and the Prime Minister failing to attend this year's COP27, as the Downing Street has announced. Now, a row over Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's refusal to attend the COP27 climate summit took an extraordinary twist on Saturday night, as the Observer was informed that his predecessor, the one Boris Johnson, is planning to attend the event. Several sources say they had been told that Johnson is intending to go to the crucial meeting of world leaders in Egypt to show his solidarity with the battle against the climate crisis. Johnson's attendance would be potentially explosive just days after Sunak took over as Prime Minister and decided he did not have time to attend. Johnson's involvement will be seen as both an implicit criticism of Sunak for not going and attempt to maintain and bolster his profile just a week after he abandoned his own attempts at a dramatic comeback to number 10. Several sources close to Johnson did not deny that he was set to go. On Saturday night, there were signs of a row at the highest level of government over Johnson's intentions and indications that efforts may be underway to get the former Prime Minister to change his mind. So perhaps the new Prime Minister was avoiding, I don't know if there's going to be a meeting with Johnson. The former Prime Minister is also set to attend that to show his solidarity with the climate crisis. So that could have been the reason why.
Miriam, that is where the problem is. That's where the problem lies now. The confusion and Boris was very, very aggressive in holding this COP26 in Scotland.
Yeah.
And they played a very pivotal role in the situation that there must be more money available to those countries that needed to change the situation, the ecosystems, and so on and so forth. If you look at my speech of COP26, which I gave while I am in the United Kingdom, the speech is very clear, Miriam. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, the speech is very clear. Without money from the developed states, which come to pick
your internet, your connection.
They be able to solve this problem at all.
Your connection is acting up again. Sorry. It's better now. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
It's okay. Technology. What can we do?
I don't know why it is acting that way.
It happens.
But I will have to do something about it today. Miriam?
Yeah. So when you see me disappearing, that is because...
It's better?
I think it's better now.
Okay. Let your production team play this one so that you can see my sentiments about I don't know whether we wait and we reach the COP itself, because there are serious observations and which I had made. Yes, if we play, we can play this one, which can help us to understand fully the implications of why African countries must be very careful when they are going to this conference again. Stephen, there you are. This is on South African Broadcasting Corporation this morning. It is sad that things are not tying up. We need money urgently. The world is changing. If you look at the amount of water that used to come at night returning or in the morning towards 4 a.m. in Mombasa, it's not the type of water that is coming, Miriam. Something is wrong. It has left another gap. There is now another gap there that you people will say, the water has come, but it hasn't reached. It used to come and people run away from one of the sitting places. There's a place, a nightclub there in Mombasa. Down, is it Boabo something like that, where you can, the water comes and then the tables are removed by workers at night in the morning. If you are in the nightclub up to 4 a.m., 3 to 5 a.m. I was there and some time back, and the water came in the morning. But now that water, if you go to that place, it doesn't come again. It's not coming. Where is it going? It's drying up. Something is wrong. So we must hurry up, do something so that we don't destroy this world. The planet is under siege. If the video is ready for play, the audio, can we play it?
This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite, PAS10, DSTV audio bouquet 802, and OpenView bouquet, channel 628.
You attended last year's COP where you felt that Africans were not united. So I want to start with your reflections of what you deem were some of the missed opportunities and how can Africa do better this time around?
First of all, I want to state categorically that from the previous experience of COP26, which I attended in Scotland, I looked at Africa and I laughed. I looked at myself and I looked back and I said, oh my God, where has our unity gone? We are not the biggest polluters. The biggest polluters are in the West, United States and China and others in Europe. But we went to Scotland, a disunited group. You could see on the floor in COP26, when the head of state from Africa was speaking, you could count the number of people that were on the floor listening. The rest of African delegations were out. So I looked at that, I picked from that, and I said, oh my God, I hope it is not going to happen in Egypt on COP27. I want Africa, go in this meeting, a united Africa, to seek the $100 billion that was promised by the main polluters. Because for us, our continent, at least we had preserved quite a lot of things that were not disturbed by the human beings. Nature gave us forests. Nature gave us rivers, nature gave us good weather, but here we have polluting agencies coming into Africa to destroy our ecosystems, and then we need action, but we go there disunited. That is my point, why I came out to say, are we again going to negotiate in Egypt with the bigger countries when we are not united? Africa seems not to be united at all. You find South Africa with its own values of how they can control the environment, the climate change. Kenya is going with another view. Nigeria with floods at the moment in this century, 62 years after independence. Surely, Africa, we need to go to Egypt to seek that money, the 100 billion, when we are united, in order to make implementation for climate change, which is real and destroying Africa at the moment.
Now, Doctor, I want to talk about the Twitter space that you hosted last night. You were asking whether Africa was a victim of its own mess or a victim of the main polluters. What came out of that discussion?
A very good discussion. First of all, there are two strands on the space that I hosted. One strand is very clear. Are we a victim of our own mess? Yes. we allow forests to be cut down. We encourage people to cut down forests, to cut down trees, to go and encroach the forests that God had given us to keep Africa variety of weather and the climate. We have allowed people, there are countries in Africa that even encourage the destruction of forests in order to build, factories. We cut these trees and send the trees to China, which is one of the most polluting nations in the world. Are we not? We don't create our problems ourselves. We are victims of our own mess. If you look at countries in East Africa, Central Africa, the amount of timber that is being cut out of the tropics of Central Africa and the Congo forest, that is being shipped to China and America and other countries, it's huge. But we are not planting trees. We are not replacing a tree for the tree that we have cut. So we are our own victims of our own mess. On the other side, if you look at who is the victims of the West, the main polluters, we fall victims. They are the people who have created us, the mess that we see right now. They come, they ask for minerals, they encroach on our countries. Who is taking the minerals in the capital city where you are now? Where do those minerals go? Tell me that there is an African wearing gold in South Africa or the streets of South Africa. How many of you? But most of the gold taken out of South Africa goes out and then made from outside, then sold to us. Are we not victims ourselves? Also, the companies that come to take away the ecosystems of Africa must, first of all, pay and compensate for the destruction of the ecosystems. Those in the Congo forest, those looking for minerals in DRC Congo, Central African Republic, must pay for these services. They should not only pay lip services.
This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite PAS10, DSTV audio bouquet 802, and OpenView bouquet channel 628.
Thank you very much for you have listened yourselves, Tawish and Miriam. That was my interview to South African Broadcasting Corporation this morning, and the radio is broadcasting all over Africa, and certain people have taken it up. Do we go there united? Are we united when demanding this money? Miriam has already told us in our fast that we are not. We just go there individual countries. The other time Kenya took a delegation of 300 people. They played a pivotal role. But then Zimbabwe could not call them and say, our president is going to talk. Can you sit in the audience to give morale? We go even in those conferences when we are not together. How can the people who are supposed to release the 100 billion give us when they can come and divide one of us? Yes, with incentives. China will come and say, I want the road. Don't worry about that. What is that carbon? It will cost how much? 10 billion. Anakupatia. So these are some of the things that have caused us a problem as Africans. I wish we shall be united one day and move on as a united country.
Very well. Yes, indeed. So we just move swiftly to...
Let's move on to the next one, Miriam.
Time for elections in UK. You could lead us on that.
The what?
Time for elections in the United Kingdom, in Britain.
Yes, I think people are fed up. Miriam, I can summarize it for you quickly so we go quickly through other topics. We have very little time left. Yes, people are fed up, Miriam. People want a fresh election, a fresh mandate, a fresh election that will give the country the dignity, the breach of security. You hear the ministers who are being appointed are more or less, they are going to nightclubs at night. They are taking their men, women in nightclubs. British ministers are supposed to be respected. Anything in Britain can bring you down. If you are found even in a wrong place, even if the car has got a tire bust, you must call police while you are in the car. You don't stand outside, because if they take your picture and they flash it in the newspaper in the morning, and the place where you are standing, Miriam, was a red district, where beautiful girls have gone to look for the daily bread, you'll have a problem, Miriam. You lose your post. So these security breaches, which the Chief of Staff of Defense Forces of Britain is saying, is some of these people are careless. They're using telephones. Some of them are having dinner, are having lunches with agents of the Russian government. You know, it is becoming a messy. It could mess up. So people are fed up with all this changing. You are a leader of democracy worldwide. You want your democracy to be diluted, a fragile democracy. What will an African president say? That look at Britain, it has changed 4 prime ministers, and the pound has collapsed. And you want me to change? Why should I change? Why should I change? And the leader in Africa will stick to power. He said, I'm holding my shilling strong. You are very lucky in Kenya. You've received a smooth transition. That smooth transition is excellent. But some African leaders use the examples of Britain also to say, you look at there, the Queen was there for a long time. Why do you want me to change? Mugabe used to use that as an example. Yes, Mugabe used to say, but look, Her Majesty is still there. It's my age mate. Why do you want me to go out? But the fragility of the democracy also can create difficulties of insecurity, terrorism. People turn to hate each other. The majority of whites are looking at the black immigrants and the Asians and other places are the people who are bringing chaos to their economy. You have seen the Twitter, how they are trolling Sunak, the way they are telling him, how did he come to be the prime minister? You see, those sentiments of hatred are beginning to come. And these sentiments can only be silenced once you have a fresh elections. And that is what the Labour Party, thanks God, I must do a disclaimer to those listening to this program that I'm a member of the Labour Party since 1987, when I moved to Britain as a refugee and settled there. 1987. So I am a member of the Labour Party. And I've been voting Labour Party. When we lose, we come, singing in the train. Have you lost and sung? Oh, we wait, we wait. Oh, we wait, Labour, we wait. Oh, we wait. From Walworth Road in Camberwell, I used to get to bus number 140, is it 176? It goes all the way to Croydon, singing after, you go to the, Miriam, you go to the political party headquarters when they are counting the votes. When you see constituency by constituency coming in, then lastly you are remaining with only 2 or 3. Miriam and Tawish. I have learned how how to take a shocker. You see people, the conservative people, even shouting at you, we won. These are stupid, the policies were stupid, but there is no fight. There is no fight. You go back from 1987 until 1998. 97 elections. We won, Labour Party came back. Since then, after my friend, the former Prime Minister, after Blair left, and another gentleman from Scotland, what is his name? Gordon Brown. After my friend Gordon Brown left power, We have been just on the opposition, backbenchers. We lost a vote of a referendum by 49%, and this guy is just won by 50 point something percent. Brexit, we lost, and we are still here. No, time has come for us to change. The people have to change for the better policies. The NHS is having a problem. The hospitals are not being looked after properly. There are more patients who are experiencing longer queues. These are some of the things that we, the Labour Party, use to campaign door to door, to tell people come out and vote out the Conservative government. So that is what it is, Miriam, with this British politics. And the example why we talk about it on this platform is we don't go and kill each other after we lost. I've told you how we go in the train and we go even crying, but the next man is even drinking double bottles like this. He has won double. And how do you feel? The other leader of the party has congratulated the other one to say, thank you very much, you defeated me. There is no petition. There is no petition. And Africa should learn from this. Presidential elections in Africa should not have petitions. Let the largest party that has more seats in parliament choose their president to lead them. Remove the clause of petitions. One of the stumbling blocks in Kenya elections and other in the Uganda elections are presidential petitions. They cause instability. They polarize states. Tanzania doesn't have, Britain doesn't have a petition. Do you have a petition in Britain? Have you ever had a minister, prime minister going to Old Bailey that is challenging Mr. Boris because he lost an election? No. Have you had anything in Tanzania? Why has Tanzania stabilized? There is no, because the presidential vote is clearly straight. The highest number of seats that the prime minister gets is the one to form the government, Miriam. Look at that one, think, school of thought. And that should be the topic for today. On our Twitter space, should Africa have, Miriam, frame it for me in good English across there.
Okay.
You are laughing. Yes. Tawit, go ahead. I've made my point as I frame my question. Should we have presidential petitions after elections in Africa? Should we? Have I framed it properly?
Yeah.
Should we have presidential petitions in elections? Where do you hear of presidential elections, petitions in the United States? Do you hear of presidential petitions in the United States?
Well, Trump tried a couple, about 60 cases
Where?
in different states. When he was
Where? You show me one.
he was
Which
challenging
one?
the results, but they were all nullified. So
There was only one that Bush and Al Gore,
I'll go, yeah.
they went to finish it in the court.
Yeah, so there is presidential petition there.
There was one, yes. But after that, nobody wants to go to court. Why? Where did we invent this monster of going to court?
But maybe because, Doc, how they do the elections.
Now we are talking.
the issue
Now
of
you are
tran-
talking.
the issue of
Now you are
transparency.
coming. I was tricking you, taking you to that level, which I don't want to enter. Maybe because of what?
How they do the elections is different. There's
Thank
the
you
issue
very
of
much.
transparency and all that is
Instead of wasting the time, the money to put instead of waiting the money to put the Supreme Court specifically to wait for presidential. How on earth can you waste money on a Supreme Court to bring you to only be there in Kampala to listen to presidential, to be there in Gabon? Are we thinking together now? Gabon, they went and banned the whole court, Supreme Court. Tanzania does not have, it has a Supreme Court, but Zimbabwe has a Supreme Court. They wasted money. The lawyers, the government pays those lawyers. Look at the elections in Zimbabwe. Does Africa need presidential petitions solved by the court? Is part of the instability on the continent of Africa. It's part of instability because that is where the countries go to flames. That I'll defeat you, I'll beat you, then I tell you go to court. Isn't it? Isn't it what we are saying here? Itakupiga makofi mpaka uende kwa koti. People, that attitude, I had not looked at it. I am now beginning to look at it. Where did we get it? Tanzania has been so peaceful. Chikwete comes, Mokapa comes, Nyerere goes, Mwinyi comes in, Hassan Mwinyi hands over to Mokapa, Mokapa hands over to Chikwete, Chikwete hands over to Magufuli, Magufuli hands over to Mama Samia Suluhu. It doesn't kill democracy. Think about it. Let's move on. Tawish, the next topic. Any comment on elections?
No, I think absolutely, Dr. Matsanga, I agree with you. And what Miriam has indeed alluded to in terms of what makes elections hotly contested in the African continent because of the perception of how it is being conducted in the first place. You posed the question as to whether we should abolish altogether the presidential election petition in the African continent. But before we get there, Dr. Matsanga, I think we must address the question of how we do the elections. Because
no. Tawish, Apple. Did that one you talk later? That one can. That one, I have found the remedy. I am advocating for the remedy. What is the remedy? Like I've advocated for the remedy of the end.
So Doc, what I'm hearing you to be saying is perhaps proportional representation could be the solution.
Exactly.
Like the South African,
exactly.
Lesotho.
Exactly. Change the method, which produces no presidential petitions in the Supreme Court, but produces the winner of more candidates, more MPs. UDA has MPs. NRM has more MPs. Therefore, it selects its own man who should represent them, who becomes the president. Miriam, take over there.
Okay, very well, thank you. Perhaps Tawish, you could.
But Tawish, go ahead.
Well, I think I was just trying to sum up, not really to overwrite what Dr. Matsanga has said, but it's a very good discussion that perhaps before we address the question of abolishing even the presidential election petition in the African continent, mostly, we should then try to see how we can strengthen ways on how we conduct our elections.
Some of these petitions are necessary.
I think that is the origin of the problem.
I'm saying some of these petitions are necessary. Like in the one in Malawi, what happened? Yeah. In Kenya also, we had it, we moved on.
Yeah, sure. But that's why I'm saying, Miriam, I think maybe you're not clearly getting the point that I'm trying to drive home. The issue here is the reason why we're embracing even the issue of presidential election petition is because there's fear around whether really, or the perception whether really, in the African continent, mostly in the African nations, we conduct free, fair, and credible election that which reflects the will of the people. And to try and mitigate or eliminate, instances where people or poll losers decide, say, for example, to go to the streets and cause havoc, cause violence, destruction of properties to the extent that even human life is lost. I think the issue the issue of presidential election petition gives yet another hope or another window where an election loser can choose to go to the court instead of going to the streets, so that by the end of the day we can be able to determine whether really that election was free and fair. But generally, I think the issue is we must address how we are conducting our elections. Because today, Miriam, look into the Kenyan scenario, for example. The 2007-2008 post-poll skirmishes that saw hundreds of thousands of people being displaced, and thousands others really being killed because of that post-election skirmishes. It's because of the lack of trust on the electoral commission, and people feeling like maybe even the judiciary itself could not be trusted. The Kenyan public had lost confidence completely on the part of the judiciary, and that is why those who were aggrieved by the outcome of that election chose rather to go to the streets other than going to the court. But I think continually we need to strengthen the institutions. And when I talk about institutions, it's not only about the judiciary, but independent institution, as is the case for the Kenyan scenario, where we have the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We need to strengthen that institution to the extent that the exercise it oversees is foolproof and one which the Kenyan people can have faith in and confidence that by the end of the day, when they make a declaration about the outcome of an election, is one which every person will really be content with, regardless whether you've won or lost an election. So I think it goes down on how we conduct the election. It's a discussion that you cannot quite exhaust in one forum, Miriam.
Okay, yes, indeed. Thank you so much. We move on to our next topic, that is on Ukraine, the Russian war, and the latest, Russia suspended its UN broker deal to allow Ukrainian grain shipments through the Black Sea. State agency said on Saturday after a drone attack that damaged at least one of its warships near the Crimean city of Sevastopol. Ukraine and Russia signed the deal this summer after the Russian Navy blockade shipments from Odessa and two other Ukrainian ports last year. Ukraine accounted for 10% of the global wheat exports. That is according to the United Nations. So the war in Ukraine there is not getting any better. It's intensifying. And of course there have been a wave of strike that has hit Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities. And that is the latest. About an hour ago, Russia has launched a massive missile strikes across Ukraine, including the capital Kyiv, causing power and water outages. Ukrainian official has said at least two blasts were reported in Kyiv. One resident told the BBC his district was now without electricity. In the northeastern city of Kharkiv, critical infrastructure facilities were hit. The local authorities have confirmed the strikes comes after Russia blamed Ukraine for a drone attack on its Black Sea fleet in the annexed Crimea, and I think I've talked about that. So the war continues. Doc. Okay, so have we waited for, I think we'll just, because we've looked at those stories a lot, so we just keep that and get into the Democratic Republic of Congo war. And I think earlier on I had a bit of an update at Awish on our first show, but we did not get to talk about it because we looked at the situation in South Africa and what the president said about the migration there. So now maybe we just talk about it because we have it here as one of our topics. The African Union has called for an immediate cessation of fighting in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where rebels have been advancing towards the provincial capital in the east of the country. DR Congo has expelled the Rwandan ambassador, accusing Kigali of supporting the M23 rebels, who are now threatening the city of Goma. It follows the takeover by the rebels of a key transit town in the east of the country. Rwanda has repeatedly denied the allegations. And so, in short, there's been an escalation of hostilities in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and these M23 rebels seems to have taken hold of a key town, that is Goma, and cutting it off from the rest of the country. And you wonder, we have about 16,000 United Nations mission troops there. And then you add to that the Kenyan troops are there, Ugandan troops are there. You add to that Tanzanian troops are also there. What is not happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo? Tawish.
Miriam, in any war, just like the one we are experiencing today, of course, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the issue is not about the number of troops or boots on the ground. I think it boils down to the issue of strategy. Because you can have as many boots on the ground as possible. You can have as much weaponry as you will want at your disposal. But again, if you do not have a clear, coherent strategy on how you're going really to deal with this situation, then by the end of the day, you'll be fighting a losing war. And I think that is why we are not making any significant inroads, breakthrough in as far as trying to contain the M23 rebels in DR Congo is concerned. So I think the challenge on the part of those who are leading the security operation and the pacification in that part of DR Congo must henceforth go back to the drawing board and look into the strategy that they're engaging. Is it something that is bearing any fruit, or is it something that is defeatist rather in itself? So that by the end of the day, we will want to see that these soldiers who are on the ground are able really to contain the situation, and also to be able to make sure that the continued infighting in DR Congo is really brought down, as it were. So generally, I think it's the issue to do with strategy, Miriam, which these soldiers must be able to think about it. Because again, we cannot understand why we have so many boots on the ground. I mean, just like you've alluded to, Kenya, Uganda, and the rest of the region has, of course, donated troops to try and help deal with the M23 rebels. But we are not making any significant breakthrough in terms of pacifying that region and in terms of containing these rebels. So we need to go back to and look into the strategy that we are developing, even if it includes, Miriam, engaging more in terms of intelligence gathering, so that even the troops on ground are able to act on intelligence reports, and not just to go and fight aimlessly or means scoring in a field without goalposts, Miriam. We need to have, of course, a guidance rather on how this operation is being carried out, and to incorporate, of course, the services of the intelligence teams, so that they can be able to help the troops on the ground. Otherwise, we'll continue to send more troops and more troops to DR Congo, but will not be getting any or achieving anything out of this action that we have taken in terms of helping DR Congo to deal with the M23 rebels.
Okay, and of course, as I said there earlier, the DRC has give Rwandan Ambassador Vincent Karenga 48 hours to leave the country in retaliation for Rwanda's alleged support of the M23 rebels in the Congo's eastern provinces. The rebel group, which Congo authorities accuse Rwanda of backing, but Rwanda denies, seized the town of Kiwanja in eastern Congo on Saturday, effectively cutting North Kivu's capital Goma off from the upper half of the province. The three Kiwanja residents who talked to Reuters that droves of fighters entered the town without significant resistance after a short spurt of gunfire Saturday morning. That's what they said. A UN intervention brigade, which had been supporting government forces, said in a statement that 4 peacekeepers were wounded in the fighting. The statement did not comment on the fate of the town. Attacks against UN peacekeepers may constitute war crimes, it said. The mission calls on this rebel group to immediately cease all belligerence and warns that it stands ready to respond vigorously in the event of further aggression. The Congolese army contingent protecting the town had departed the previous day. Residents said the army had conducted retreats from populated areas to move fighting away from towns. In an effort to protect civilians, Kivu Security Tracker, which maps unrest in eastern Congo, said the army retreated on Saturday from positions at Rumagambo, their largest camp in the area, and the M23 had surrounded the local UN peacekeeper camp and the Virunga National Park. Unrest in North Kivu has brokered broken months of relative calm in eastern Congo after the resumption of the clashes between the army and the M23 militants. Army forces have clashed with rebel fighters several times since fighting resumed on October 20th, killing at least 4 civilians and forcing more than 23,000 people to flee their homes, and that is according to the United Nations. So the latest, the East African community is facing renewed pressure to avert simmering violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo and save the various tracks of diplomatic processes launched in Nairobi and Luanda aimed at solving multi-layers of the conflict. And I think from November 2nd, Nairobi is expected to gather the various warring fractions in a second attempt to convince them to abandon war for political talks. It's a lot there to unpack. So is it about time the EAC perhaps brought everybody on board, and maybe, because they seem to want to talk about everything else outside of the fact that the Democratic Republic of Congo has been consistent with accusing Rwandan government of funding the M23 rebels, and of course Rwandan government has denied. So is it about time EAC sat down with Rwanda and the DRC and look at try to look behind these allegations by the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Miriam, I would not want to say that these are just any mere allegations coming from DR Congo. Of course, accusing the Rwandan government or Rwandan people for interfering with the affairs or the sovereignty in DR Congo, and particularly with the allegation that it's funding or really helping the M23 rebels to fight the government in DR Congo. I think if at all this is what is happening, and if Rwanda is indeed engaging in such, then it's very, very unfortunate, because we need to speak with one voice. We need to pull in one direction for us to be able to deal with this. Because again, any rebel activity and a threat to security in DR Congo means the same to the region, to the East Africa region, and generally in the African continent. So I do not think it will be in our best interest as a people, our neighbor, the neighboring nations of DR Congo, to see that the M23 rebels are going to flourish, are going, say, for example, to defeat even government or destabilize that country, because when they do, we are equally going to suffer in one way or another. So if at all Rwanda is engaging in this, they must be called out for engaging in such. They must come out and fully participate and demonstrate its commitment, or rather her commitment, in helping DR Congo and the rest of the East African region in trying to pacify that region and also contain the threats by the M23 rebels. This is something that is despicable. It should not be allowed to go unchallenged. And President Paul Kagame should rise to the occasion and speak about this, and even not just denounce it, but we would want to see him even cooperate with the rest of the East African region in terms of helping Democratic Republic of Congo in dealing with this menace that is being, of course, posed by the M23 rebels in DR Congo. Miriam, I submit.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the regional bloc, that is the East African community, has signaled that military action in the DRC will be the last resort. Officials said they are concentrating on pushing the armed groups to join the negotiating table instead. But the Democratic Republic of Congo has insisted anybody else can come to the table. Any other rebel group can be represented on that mediation table except for the M23. It's been very adamant. It's not interested in having the M23 rebels on the table to have this, to be part of this mediation process. So perhaps that is a reason why we've seen the conflict intensify. Before President Uhuru Kenyatta retired, just a couple of months following that, the agreement was the meeting that was held in Nairobi was to create a force, an East African force from the East African community to go and try to help in that conflict area. And I think the conversation we had at that time is, how can we have the East African community force come together and go to the Democratic Republic of Congo when some members in the community are being accused as being part of the parties that are fueling that war, that will include Rwanda, Uganda, and also Burundi. The DRC has been actively accusing these three countries, especially in Rwanda. So what will happen? So that would have remained with how many countries? I think 3. That will be Sudan. I mean, South Sudan is having its own problems there. So I don't know if they even have, they're struggling to have the unified forces together. I don't know if they have any that we can borrow from right now. So that remains, Kenya and Tanzania are the ones who perhaps. And now they've said, the East African community has said, military action is the last resort they want to use instead. They want everybody to join the table, but Rwanda, DRC's government is saying anybody else but not M23. It's a cocktail of disaster. Dr. Matsanga, would you agree? He's busy. Tawish, go ahead.
First of all, before Tawish goes.
Doc is here. Okay, go ahead.
Before Tawish goes,
Yes.
I just want to tell you, all these things of DRC Congo, Miriam, is a hogwash. Until these guys come on table, you are bringing them to Kenya to do what? What are you bringing them to Kenya to do what? Kenyan troops went to there, and I warned here. I want to be very careful, very well understood. From today, I said, Miriam, didn't I say Kenyan troops should never go there?
Myself as well. I thought that was a bad
I
idea.
said it because it is good Kenyan troops have withdrawn. Because when Museveni and Kagame are quarreling, please don't go near there. And let Kenyans who are hearing this hear me. Hear me today. I have been together in the battlefield with those guys. Whether President Ruto or whoever, hear me. Hear me, you people. I am your person. Hear me. When those guys are quarreling, don't go there. Kenya is a peaceful country. These guys want that country. It's a fragmentation of a state. Miriam, am I wrong? Let the people hear me. So many things I predict here, and the people think I talk. I talk because God talks through me also. Hey, hear me. Did the Kenyan troops run and come back? They came. When you watch huko bunduki, handed them off and they came. Don't go there. What if the army hits? Where does the army go? If M23 is hitting, where does it go? That you are bringing them to Nairobi to do what? To do what? To buy things in the supermarket? Allah. No. If they are coming here, let them come for us to end. I think it's high time the people of Kenya and East Africa included some of us in these peace talks. Some of us have been, honestly, some of us went and backed to see rebels who used to kill people. Miriam, if you were there when you saw me backing at some of these rebels, I said, if you want to kill me, kill me. Kill me here. But you have killed so many people. I'll show you some of the videos. Miriam, I'll show you, you'll be shocked. You said this and went away. Yes. I told the rebels, you have killed people. Now there is no escape. Sign this agreement, I take it. Or else they will come for you. But we are not telling these rebels the truth. We are bringing them to sleep in a hotel again. Ahuna! If I were the one in Nairobi, I would not accept. Wakuja na program ya kusema, they will come to sign and get out of somebody's country. Or if they are there from their country, let them reassemble in those countries. Isn't it? They go back and get reintegrated in the Congolese army. So they are saying they are Congolese.
And that's what they've been calling for, the one to be recognized and perhaps given positions.
They are Congolese, but now if they are capturing territory, and they are capturing territory near who? It's good they have not captured it near Uganda. If those people are quarreling, run like Murethi. Who is this man, Murithi? Run! I am telling Kenya, if the two men are quarreling in East Africa, run! Run away! Stand up very far, and you will love me forever. You will love me forever for telling you the truth. Run away! This guy is up. Do you know who is coming in the? Do you know who is coming in next? Haki Amu. Have you heard what I'm telling you? I'm also a relative of Angola. Don't underrate me. Angola is sending its troops. More Angolan troops are coming into Congo. I'm telling you now. I'm sorry, Father, but I've said. People don't underrate me. When I tell people the truth, they think I'm a stupid man.
It's coming to support the government forces, because I know the talks
Yes!
have been happening in Nairobi and Angola too, in Luanda. So, okay.
They're coming to support the government forces. A part of you. So they're open. Zimbabwe is bringing in troops tomorrow. I swear in the name of God. We are going back to 1999, 8, 96, when we hammered each other there. People who are not there, when they see you talking, they call you, is it true? Rubbish. Rubbish. I've listened it from the Angolans are moving in. Well, battle hardened. Do you know those Angolans are battle hardened? They are going to fight it. This time, I think one of the countries in Africa, East Africa, is going to suffer.
Do we know the country?
I don't want to know. Let me run away. Hold the fort for me. Okay. Let me sort something else. Medium. Hold the fort for me from Nairobi.
Okay.
But I'm telling you the truth. Jamen. Msikilize mimi. Hii vita ya Congo is a complex.
It's very complex.
If the rebels are asked who gives them the arms, they better say who gives them the arms. Isn't it? Why are they hiding us? Over to you, Tawish.
All right. Tawish, is it about time the East African community stepped up its mediation process and perhaps started with the DRC and Rwanda and interrogated these allegations by the Democratic Republic of Congo against Rwanda?
Oh, yes, Miriam, you are right. I think it is time that the East Africa region really must step up its effort in trying to help DR Congo deal with this situation. But again, Miriam, we should also be alive to the fact that with the underlying misgiving and reservation that DR Congo has on some of the membership of the East Africa region and more so Rwanda, then it makes it so difficult even for say DR Congo to trust the participation the participation of Rwanda as being sincere and honest in trying to help in that particular situation. So I think what we need to do is to deal with the issue of that misgiving that say DR Congo has on Rwanda, so that when we are bringing all the membership of the players in the East Africa region together and say even in bringing on board the leadership of the M23 rebels to have a negotiation, then this must be done with sincerity and utmost honesty. Failure to which Miriam then will not be making any headway in finding a solution to this conflict in DR Congo. Miriam, secondly, I think also the issue of having more troops on the ground. We want to see that in as much as we continue to engage on these other fronts, we want to see that the rest of the East African region can add or have more troops really go to DR Congo to try and help contain that situation. Because again, when you have any nation or a leadership in the East African region really withholding from sending the troops, then it speaks volumes, and there's more than meets the eye. It will make someone really have a foregone conclusion that perhaps they are supporting the illegal activities by the M23 rebels. So we must all move together with that speed, but again with sincerity and honesty that it deserves, so that by the end of the day, when we sit down on the table, on the negotiating table, We have players who come with clean hands and with good intentions to try and help DR Congo come out of the situation, Miriam. I think that way we'll be making some steps forward in getting a solution to this conflict.
Okay, all right. Another conflict in the continent, it appears that's the theme. What is happening in Africa? No good news. But peace talks between warring sides on Ethiopia's Tigray conflict have been extended into Monday, that is today. An official familiar with the arrangements for the talks confirms that discussions continue in South Africa between Ethiopia's federal government and representatives of the northern Tigray region. The African Union-led talks seek a cessation of hostilities in a war that the United States asserts has killed up to hundreds of thousands of people, an estimate made by the United Nations and health workers. The first formal peace talks began last week, and South Africa's government had said they would end on Sunday. Representatives of the warring sides have not responded to any questions. Neighboring Eritrea, whose forces are fighting alongside Ethiopian ones, is not a party to the talks, and it is not clear whether the deeply regression country will respect any agreement reached. Witnesses have told the African press that Eritreans were killing civilians even after the talks began. So the war continues, but the mediation talks also have been ongoing in South Africa. They were to give us an update yesterday, but from the reports that we're having, the talks have continued into today. So do we just wait for them to give us an update? Because, they've not been even updating the media, which I think is good on one side. So maybe progress is being made. But also on the other side, I think people are just anxious to know what is the progress that is being made in the mediation process. But even with that, bombardment continues from Ethiopian and Eritrean forces. So I don't know, what is your take? Do you just wait for the update from the mediation team? Or what should you expect?
Yes, indeed, Miriam. I think we must give the mediation team a chance and opportunity to be able to explore all the available options and avenues to try and bring a solution to the conflict that is in Ethiopia, or between Ethiopia and of course the Tigray region. Miriam, because again, this is somehow a complex crisis, and one which has been there for almost 2 years now. It's not something that you will say, you will just have a one sitting and give an instant solution to this problem. It is something that calls for a well-concerted effort, rather an all-concerted effort from all the stakeholders, and more so, and critically so, to the negotiating or the mediating team, which I believe is led by none other than the former president of Nigeria, that is President Olusegun Obasanjo, and the immediate former president of Kenya, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and of course others. So in this case, Miriam, I think, because it's somehow a dicey situation, it's somehow a very sensitive situation, and it's something to do with security, of course. You'll not expect that they will be divulging more in terms of what has really to be done. There are things that might come to the public for public consumption, but there could be so many other strategies also they could be engaging in terms of reaching out to the leadership of the warring parties to see into it how they can be able to come together and agree on the way forward, and of course bring to an end this crisis that continues to bedevil that particular country. So I think they are making headway. When you see so much of that silence, because people expect out of the very meetings that the mediating team has had, maybe they could be coming out and giving us a brief. And, for now, people have been pregnant with expectation. People are waiting so much with bated breath to see what is going to come out of this mediation process. And maybe if they have not made any significant headway, then they will have to wait until they have something really to tell the public, something that is really inspires and gives hope out of this conflict, and not just the normal or usual or traditional kind of media briefing or information to the public that does not bear any significance, or does not is not going to have any say positive effect on the ground, and also to make of course the infighting to you'll say ceasefire really to be there, Miriam. So I think there's so much that is being done even in silence. will need to give them a benefit of doubt and give them time with trust this team, that eventually they will be able to tell us if they are making any significant, of course, headway or breakthrough in terms of bringing these warring parties together to finding a solution in this conflict in Ethiopia.
And just a quick update on the story that we've just been looking at about the Democratic Republic of Congo. The latest, just a few moments ago, Kagame has spoke to the UN boss over this crisis. And Rwanda's president has said he's had a good discussion with the United Nations Secretary General about de-escalating the situation in the east of Democratic of Congo. Conflict has been raging in the region for months between the DR Congo's army and M23 rebels who seized 2 more towns over the weekend. The situation has prompted the DR Congo government to expel Rwanda's ambassador to Kinshasa, a decision Rwanda has noted with regret. In a tweet posted on Monday, President Paul Kagame wrote that the ways and means to de-escalate and address the issues to a peaceful end are with us. We just have to commit ourselves to applying them. The African Union has expressed its extreme concern at the deteriorating security situation and called for an immediate cessation of fighting. Kinshasa has repeatedly accused Rwanda of supporting the M23, an accusation Kigali has always denied. Different initiatives by the Angolan president and the East African community, which both countries belong to, have been unable to stop the violence and resolve the decades-long conflict. So the Rwanda's president is saying they've had a good discussion with the UN Secretary General about de-escalating the situation in the East African, in the DRC. So, interesting. We'll see how that works out. So anyway, we move on to the last story we have today, and that is on Somalia. And you know, Somalia right now seems to be also in turmoil. There was some 2 successive car bombings that happened in Somalia on Saturday, and at least 100 people were killed and close to 300 others injured in the 2 attacks, according to Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud. Mohamud made the announcement after visiting the site of the attack in the early hours of Sunday. He appealed to the international community to send doctors and medical supplies to treat the wounds. And in a tweet before visiting the site, Mohamud condemned the attack, saying it was a cruel and cowardly terrorist attack on innocent people by the morally bankrupt and criminal Al-Shabaab group. The attack took place at Zobe Junction, site of the October 14, 2017 truck bombing, the deadliest single-day terror attack in Africa, which killed and injured 1,000 people. In that attack, Al-Shabaab did not claim responsibility, although an Al-Shabaab operative was convicted and later executed for coordinating the attack. But that attack on Saturday was immediately claimed by Al-Shabaab. So we've seen a renewed effort to fighting the Al-Shabaab by the current regime, and the Al-Shabaab itself is not relenting. Is this the time for the rest of the East international communities, including the African communities that have been supporting the Somali government? Is this the time to intensify their support on the Somali's government to win this war against the Al-Shabaab?
Absolutely, Miriam. Because again, what continues to happen in Somalia today, I think the issue of the continued attacks, say for example, on innocent civilians and targeted, say, government installations, it just seeks to dampen the spirit and the effort of the forces that are trying to pacify Somalia. And I will suppose such incidents should only serve to bolster the morale of the forces and those who helping in pacification of Somalia and trying to restore peace and security in that part of the region. And we would want to see a more intensified effort with zeal and determination by the African troops that are in Somalia to make sure that we continue with the pacification effort. And because again, Miriam, when you almost at the end of the tunnel, when you almost see the light, is when it becomes even darker. And I think we are at the moment where the African troops and the efforts that have been put in terms of pacifying Somalia are bearing enormous fruits, or is having a lot of positivity. And in itself, therefore, the Al-Shabaab militia as well will not just want to lie down or go down as, say, a group or a team that has been defeated. So they will want to pose such kind of threats or send such kind of signals in an attempt to try and deflate or even to reduce the morale of the efforts that our soldiers are having on the ground. But I think this is not the moment for us to backtrack. This is not the moment for us to say, for example, even give up. It is the moment for us to even increase more troops on the ground. It's the moment for us to increase more resources in these efforts to try and pacify Somalia, and even try to help the Somalia National Army in terms of their capacity and their strength to be able to deal with the security challenges that Somalia is facing today. You and I, Miriam, and of course, even the viewers will agree that Somalia is not what it was, say 10 years ago, before the intervention by AMISOM and now Artemis. They have made a lot of ground, and there's a lot that has been achieved so far, and we'll only hope that whatever kind of goals and achievement that Artemis has now set itself to achieve by the time that they will be there before they exit eventually and leave the security operation to the SNA in Somalia, we would have achieved greatly, and the ultimate objective of making sure that Somalia has been pacified, that security has been restored in that region, is something that has been realized. So yes, this is the moment for us to intensify the operation in Somalia. It is the moment for us to continue showing solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Somalia. The Al-Shabaab militia and terror groups in Somalia today are so desperate. They have been content to the extent that they will want to cause such kind of ugly scenes just to try and send a message that they are still strong and in existence. Whilst we know that, of course, the troops in Somalia have done a splendid job, and they continue to do the same. And ours is just but to continue giving them the morale and the support necessary to continue pacifying this region. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, I see Dr. suffered a bit of a technical hitch. He's trying to come back, because I think for me and you, Tawish, we're done. We've been on it since earlier, so I feel like all right. So, but I'd like for Doc to join, and then he can conclude the show for us. Dr. Terry, welcome back. We have looked at.
Thank you very much. Yeah. You missed me because I had the deliveries on my door.
Oh, okay.
And there is nobody at home. So thank you very much. First of all, I left you on the Congo issue.
Yeah.
Let's conclude like this.
Yeah.
These rebels are coming to eat more food in Kenya. There is no need of giving them more food when they are killing people. Point number 2, let the people, the mediators, put their feet down and call out the names of those people who are funding rebels in Congo. Whether it is the Congolese government itself also has some rebels that is giving. Miriam, a country of Congo has 133 rebel groups. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? 133 rebel groups, not 120. The other week, I went back and did a very thorough research from the Congolese man we were with on the peace mission on the Uganda peace talks. He's a professor who is an advisor to President Tshisekedi. And he gave me all the facts. 123 rebel groups in Eastern Congo. Surely, who are these rebel groups? Who pays them? Who has given them the guns? So, it is not, let's be very honest. Let's not just say, come to Nairobi, come and do what? I told you Tanzania said, tuwezi kukuja kukaa hapo, na wale wenye wa rebels, ndio hao. So we sit with them on table and they gather more information what Tanzania talks about what this country is talking about this country. Then they go back. Tanzania pulled out. It has got a lukewarm observer. When the peace talks are here, they send the ambassador. Even their foreign minister doesn't come. So President Uhuru Kenyatta must start a new way, must seek more advice from people who actually know more about these rave activities. And then see how he's going to solve, because this is a very complicated thing. It involves friends. They are friends. We must speak outright and say, call a spade a spade. When we wanted to finish the Uganda crisis, we did not call a spade a small spoon. We told Mr. Konyi and Mr. Museveni to stop going to Khartoum and Kampala for SPLA. SPLA was being given guns by the government of Uganda, and Khartoum was giving Konyi arms. They were told to keep off now. We went to Kampala and sat down with President Museveni for 80 days. He gave us a very good reception, long lectures. Some of us even lost in the process. Huge money. But we have got the peace. I never got paid my allowance. But we got the peace, Miriam. I'm happy. I'm happy as a Ugandan. There is peace in northern Uganda. But we went and told Bashir, don't give any more arms. And Bashir committed his Minister of Foreign Affairs to be in the peace talks in Juba, and his generals to come and attend the peace process. It was very chaotic, very hard times. Juba had no toilets. It had just started building toilets. And unfortunately, some of us did not go to River Nile for the morning problems. You know? We worked under very hard conditions. And the person talking here, we achieved the peace. I almost lost my life. Yes. Because of accusations, there were accusations, I almost lost my life. But when God proved to this man that the lie was being peddled about this man, I told him, when you tell the truth, then I will come back. But if you have not told the truth, I'm not coming back. When you tell the truth, go to, you know what, Miriam, you have to be hot with these rebels. You can't call them in Crown Plaza in Nairobi. They sit, they eat food, breakfast every morning. No. We have to ask them questions. I was very candid and asked this man, you are telling me to go and lie to Chisano. Chisano is 40 miles away from here. The UN are waiting there. You want me to lie? I told him, sir, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell them you have killed your deputy commander. In his face. Then I asked him, did you kill him? He said, yes, come here, let's talk together. So why did you kill him? You see, I've suffered. And then you know you are taking your life. You are too with the rebel who has killed 1 million people. Have I written a book? I better write a book, Miriam. Maybe one day your tear will drop for me. But at the moment, tears don't drop. Tawish, did you see the guy looks at you and said, how did you know that I killed him? I said, you have killed him, I know you. Tell me the truth, I go and tell Kisano and Riak and the other delegation, you and they are waiting. Please, I don't want to lie. Then he told me, yes, he killed him. Because he was found with this and that and that and that. So I came out of his tent, of his command post, which was well guarded, walked back to my delegation. I did not tell them anything. I said, can we arrange our bags? The helicopters have come. We could hear the noise. we shall call for the peace process to resume. Now we know the truth. They said, tell me the truth. I said, if I tell you the truth in this camp now, some of you might not. You know, the rebel man told me that he was going to kill 3 of my Miriam. Inside that tent, the guy said, yes, I know the corroborators, they are here. There are 3. So what I want you to do now, as you live here, go alone, leave them behind. I said, no. I said, no. I must take my people. He said, why? I said, please. At this moment, no way. You can't do this. He singled out the people. He singled out Martin. He singled out Ayena, the lawyer, and singled out Dr. Bitter. These are powerful men on the planet. He said, this one, don't go. They remain behind. For you undertake the rest of the delegation. I said, no. Then he said, because of you, let them go. But as soon as they reach Juba, just sack them. By the time we landed in Juba, the man had announced that he had already sacked the 3. But when I reached Rikwamba, where Kisano and Riaka and others were, I called Obita and others. I said, my friends, you give me, touch my feet. It is me who saved you. Touch my feet. Touch my feet. And they touched my feet. It's me who saved them. The guy had arranged assassination to kill them. These are some of the rebels that you are bringing in the town in Nairobi, in Crown Plaza to eat food. Ask them the truth. As soon as they leave here, they return to Congo, they go and kill people. How long will the peace process go on? We want a peace process that makes progress. So maybe the Kenya government, since they are the ones, and the East African community, I'll try to talk to the East African Community Secretary General to see whether he can, we can be in the team to advise on Sembeyo, General Sembeyo, myself. We did conflict resolution. General Sembeyo, myself, and others. We can give advice for free. We don't want money, we want just to give advice. Even if they are not paying, let's give and help to bring peace in the DRC Congo. I think, Miriam, that is not too much to ask. We are needed. We have experience. We have resolved such a conflict before. But you are not going to be calling rebels into Kenya every time when they are not giving you what you want. You must call them and tell you, so and so was giving us arms. Now, sir, we tell you here, from here today, there is a ceasefire. We are not going to capture any other capital. Kama hakuna hiyo, wacha. Invite the UN. Allow the matter to go in the hands of UN. Then UN can authorize MONUSCO.
MONUSCO.
Eh?
MONUSCO.
MONUSCO. It can invite MONUSCO and a bullet for a bullet. Then they start hitting each other, bullet for bullet. You know, we have made a mistake. I agree with President Museveni on the question of Somalia. We have made very terrible mistakes around here. And that's why the Al-Shabaab are still coming to kill people. On this one, I agree with my president. I agree with him. And let him listen. He's listening to me. If you get this clip, listen to me. Let's devise the Uganda strategy that finished the Lord Resistance Army of talks, and also use ICC to arrest these commanders Yes, yes, yes. Medium, if you issue a warrant of arrest for this command of M23, it will be very easy. Now he will come because he knows there's a warrant. But this is a man, nobody is asking for a warrant of arrest. Why is Tshisekedi fearing writing to ICC? Congo has already a lot of occupants of the ICC cells. Why can't we add another one? I don't agree with ICC, but it can catalyze the stop of the war. Karim Khan should appoint a special rapporteur for Democratic Republic of Congo and that region and ask people to collect human rights records. Even Banyamulenge are being killed by Congolese. They are being lynched because you speak Banyamulenge, you are being killed. So we can't just be speaking about the conflict one day, tomorrow we keep quiet, and then we call this guy to eat sausages here. Apana. Sorry. I'm sorry. We are ready. I'm ready to help. Miriam, we talked the truth. Can't you? Are you not with me? Are you not happy today? We were on this program last year, but before COVID, we said Kenyan troops should not involve themselves in that conflict. Rwanda, I said it with my mouth. The Rwandese will turn on them. This M23 will eat them like a ugali. The Tanzanians have suffered heavy casualties. They were betrayed. And when you look at Kabila himself, not Kabila, Tshisekedi is also has a blame. He also has rebels that he pays to destabilize these two countries.
FDLR.
Yes. Yeah, let's put it on table. Why are we what? This is a gymnastics, Miriam. This is like a baby touch me. It is baby touch me. Tshisekedi knows the rebels, he gives the money. Also to destabilize these guys. The one of Burundi knows the rebels, he has said, in Congo.
Because the ones that Tshisekedi, the government of the Democratic of Congo is said to be supporting to fight the M23 is called the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda. So they're based in the DRC. So you wonder, these forces which want to liberate Rwanda, why are they in the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Why can't they go to Rwanda and fight from Rwanda?
Liberate from their borders in there.
Yes, why do they operate? Let them go to Rwanda and operate in
That's
Rwanda,
why
then they meet the fire.
Allegedly.
My strong man there, Kagame, will teach them a lesson. Yeah. Then you tell the world that they are here, but you are doing nothing on them. Hello?
All right.
Hello? Thank you very much, Miriam. On the question of Somalia, lastly, I found it, I wish finishing. Time has come again, and let me speak like an elder. Let me speak as a man who has resolved the conflicts. The earlier you form an exit strategy around Somalia, get ready to exit. Nationalism is following us. Can I repeat that? Somali nationalism is going to swallow the very gains that we have made in Somalia. until we create a strategy of the head, the heart, the stomach. If one component is missing, you want to finish the war in Somalia. They should develop this, that, here. What is the strategy? How do you persuade people to leave armed struggle? Give them refrigerated containers. Refrigerated containers are not expensive like the arms that Turkey is pouring into Somalia. Why can't Turkey buy refrigerated containers with boats and ask that for one refrigerated container of 20 feet, which has got refrigerated equipment for your fishing and a boat, bring me 250 AK-47s. Go and collect them. We shall give you a container with a boat, with equipment and some money for you to go to the sea to ship, to fish. Collect fish, put your fish in this container, and right there for sale. A full container, $100,000. Refrigerated fish, you know. Are you seeing my logic? Am I not thinking, Mr. Tawish? That will persuade the younger men, stop them from going to be radicalized by Muslim clerics, by ISIS, by Al-Qaeda militants. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We are just running around with briefcases and flights. Oh, I'm going, we are on the journey, collect this allowance. We are in chaos. I've talked like an elder today. The conflict in Somalia can come to an end if you bring a situation which is very clear, put guidelines of how to end it, and have an exit strategy. Get out. Can I repeat? Get out before Islamic Somali nationalism captures you. If I'm wrong, again, I'm here. If I'm still alive, Miriam, if I'm not there, tell them that Dr. Matsanga, the one whom I did not cry tears, which one tear did not drop, but I sympathize with him in heart of his predicaments, said it. If we don't get out, we stand several chances of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Shabaab, turning Somalia nationalism on us, because we have not named the country that gives them the uniform. We fear that country. I told you to go and read the book called, did you look for it? The Economic Hitman. Did you look for that book, Miriam?
I've been busy working on my research work for school, Doc. I forgot.
Can I give you the book again?
Yes, you can. You may.
And if you are doing the research for the school, that is the book you should always look for. It's called The Economic Hitman by James Perkins. That book will tell you everything that you have been looking for. I'm looking for the real book. Just a minute for me. Economic Hitman by James Perkins is a very good book that will tell you why somebody fears the peace of Somalia, fears why Somalia should, if Somalia return to peace, then you will know that there's somebody who doesn't want. In that book, I'm going a wrong way, economic. It's not James, it's John Pickens. Pickens. It is called Confession is of an Economic Hitman by John Pickens with a free trial. Just get it, Miriam. Read it and you will know. After that, come tomorrow by John Pickens.
Parkins.
Parkins or Pickens or Parkins. In Uganda, I would say, but in London here, I said by John Perkins.
So that's Jamaican.
Oh, now you have gone that way. I will soon take you to the Jamaican.
It's John Parkins. All right, Doc. So I think we've had a good show
John
now.
Perkins, yes. It's a play you can go look for it. It is so
I'll get
nice.
it. I'm sure I can get it even in the school library. I'm sure they have
Yes.
such books there. I'll go look for it. Thank you. Thank you for.
And then you will find out that it is from Saudi Arabia that has why Saudi Arabia keeps Somalia unstable. Then you come back and see this world body is calling for Nairobi to host a peace process. Yet, who is taking the call term from M23? Thank you.
All right. We thank you so much for your time.
We come. Thank you very much. You are finished, yes?
Yes.
Thank you very much. From London, for me, bye-bye. I'm sorry. Today, the disruptions were many, but we shall come back tomorrow. How is the sunshine? I can't see. You're hot there. We are in winter, so here we are. But one day, you will be in winter.
All right. And that's where we end our show this afternoon here in Nairobi, about 16 minutes past 1 p.m. We've done a good 2 hours. Hopefully, the things we've talked about, some people can do a follow-up, because I think it's important conversations that we've had concerning this continent. It has been Matsanga Global Trends. We'll see you here some other time with more shows for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.